Hello and welcome to another episode of The Aftermath. My name is Ian, and as always, I'm joined by Dylan, the one and only.
Now, tell me something.
Okay.
What would you say is all you need?
I believe all you need is kill.
That's correct.
So,
this is the topic of today's episode.
okay. So I guess
talk about murder.
so for this episode, we're discussing the film. It's a Tom Cruise film called The Edge of Tomorrow. And you have told me in the past that this film had an alternate title.
Yes.
Called All You Need Is Kill.
Of course.
Where did that come from? Or is it one of those?
It's the Japanese title of what I believe is the manga that it's based on.
I see.
Think.
Okay.
That may
I mean,
just
I
been
believe
the
you.
movie title, but
Yeah. This is... have we watched another Tom Cruise movie?
we watched Top Gun.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. But before we get really deep into the weeds of this one, though, one that I do want to watch, and I think I've talked about on the show occasionally, is Oblivion.
Yes.
Another Tom Cruise movie that I remember watching. I don't think I was in the theater. I want to say I was either on DVD or something. I remember just watching it one time and like just falling in love with it. I loved that movie a lot.
I stumbled on that one on cable television. On one of the movie channels.
What a bygone era.
Right.
Yeah. But today we have the lovely movie called Edge of Tomorrow. And
shit rocks.
I tell you, this movie is so well made. I mean, obviously, it is like a Tom Cruise movie. So, I mean, very few, I'm going to wager, very few movies that he's in is not good.
Yeah.
Especially ones
he's got a fair pedigree.
That he kind of front runs. And I want to say that I don't think he was part of like the production side. I think he was just acting
just
in
an
it.
A-lister.
But regardless, this is a movie from, when did this? It was 2014, like if you believe it.
Really?
2014, man. And for a movie that is, what would it be? 8 years old?
Just about, yeah.
Man, I cannot think of anything like CGI or like production wise that I have any gripes about.
Yeah. I guess the only thing that really gets to me, just like with a lot of film in general, is like shaky cam.
Okay, yeah.
There's a good bit of it in the movie, but I don't feel like it takes away from the watch as a whole.
I kind of like it in its application here and there. There was only one scene where I thought it was a bit much, and it was under like whenever they're underground or they're in like the kind of crazy scientist base kind of thing, when like there's not a whole lot of action going on.
Yeah.
The shaky cam was like a bit aggressive whenever they were just talking.
Right.
But other than that, I think the rest of it feels like it's where it's supposed to be in like battle sequences when it's like chaotic and like, I mean, I think it fits the vibe. But going back to what I was saying, this film, I mean, the monsters, I think it's one of those scenarios. I'm maybe going out on a limb here. People may not like this, but it's very much akin to why I think the first Jurassic Park is so good.
Oh, really?
Because of the way the CGI in Jurassic Park is done, at least from what I've heard from professionals, is it's the atmosphere around the CGI which kind of hides its crimes. So instead of it being like in broad daylight in clear weather, where like you can probably like nitpick on some of the like scrutinize some of the details.
Right.
The big scene I'm talking about with the T-Rex that always looks so good and it matches so well because it's like it's dark
It's raining.
It's raining. He's big and imposing, and like it frames it just right to where like there's a lot of things that go right.
It looks good.
Right. This movie, I think, does that for the big bad, or not just the big bad, just the monster in question.
Yeah.
The monster's fast. The monster is already
sort of amorphous.
Yeah, kind of like a tentacly mass. Yeah. So it already feels a little chaotic and quick.
Right.
They kind of, whenever you first see them, they're like burrowing in the sand, and so there's a lot of action going on. So like it kind of hides its crimes, if there is any really, with like practical effects of like sand being kicked around and stuff. Right. And even whenever it gets to like later in the film, when we get to like the alphas and stuff, and you get to see some really good shots of it, it's like in a dark room, or it's like kind of gloomy, and it just makes it feel like this like blue glowing monster is like it just fits the atmosphere really well. And so that's I realized that every time we kind of came back to it, as opposed to some other films where CGI is done a little too much. I think this was a really great touch.
Oh yeah,
I think it did a really great job.
Not bad at all.
Especially for like a big bad that's like an alien creature.
Yeah, I love that they're called mimics.
Mimics, yeah. I wonder, do they go into detail about that as to why?
They don't explain why they were given that name. I can only assume they are able to mimic things in some way.
I guess. So you're saying this is based off of a book?
Based off of a manga.
Or a manga, okay. Yeah. I see. There is a couple of really big name actors in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, besides Emily Blunt and Tom Cruise, obviously, we got Mr. Bill Paxton. What a guy. I mean, I feel like it wouldn't be a good alien movie without Mr. Bill Paxton.
Of course.
Rest in peace, man. But yeah, that's just as I saw him again, and he was like a sergeant in the military, it made me think of Aliens. Sorry, and he's there. I was like, oh man,
surprisingly well put together.
I love it,
as opposed to his usual game over.
Yeah, game over, man. Yeah. So it was
in this movie, he's like, all you need is kill, dude.
That's very great.
Really hammers home the fact that they have sharp sticks.
Oh yeah, I love it. Just to give a basic premise of this, a major in the Army. It says here he's a lieutenant colonel, so I guess that's probably at the end of the movie is when he gets that title. Maybe. So anyways, he's a major, I think, at the top of the movie. And basically he gets put on the front lines. He's no longer just like a spokesperson.
Right.
Tries to go AWOL. Doesn't work. Ends up getting into the fight, which, I mean, we'll get into the mech suits in a second, because like the power suits are really cool. But after he basically almost dies, he gets a claymore and holds out in front of him, and he gets attacked by an alpha, and
a very special type of
blue goop gets on him, and it like burns him like acid. Right. And then of course all of a sudden he wakes up.
He's in.
He gets locked in. And that's exactly what happens. Is now every time he dies, it resets the day.
Yep.
Because that's how the mimics work. There's like this core, this queen bee, if you will,
that is able to control time.
Right. And if any of the alphas die, it's able to like reset the day.
Yeah.
To
just loads a quick save.
Yeah, it just quick loads from the previous time when it dies. And then of course it can, figure out where it went wrong from there, which is why this alien species is like doing a really good job at kicking our tails, because it's always one step ahead. Which is a cool premise and also terrifying.
Yeah, it's already taken over most of Europe.
Yeah, and it's just working its way. I think it landed somewhere in France and just like wiped out France.
Oh yeah,
no big deal.
Yep.
But yeah, so it says based on a book, All You Need Is Kill, a novel by Hiroshi Sakuruzaka. Is a Japanese science fiction light novel with illustrations. This book was published in Japanese under their Super Dash imprint in 2004.
Damn.
Wow. That's so cool.
10 years after.
So yeah,
I'm telling you, it's a fucking gold mine they've got over there. Of just
just really good premises.
Right.
Yeah.
Lest we forget the all of them.
The all of them. We have watched.
That we are sure to have mentioned on at least every episode.
We have watched very many.
Oh, big yawn.
Yeah. Sorry. We're extra late tonight.
Yep.
I did not mean
really feeling it.
We're really feeling it this time. We have watched on this podcast numerous things from like Japanese culture that are just beautiful, terrifying,
of course,
and cool all at the same time.
Really
cool.
Cool.
First thing that comes to mind is Jinro.
Mm-hmm.
It's super cool.
The Wolf Brigade.
What a crazy premise. Terrifying.
Yeah.
In its own way. But regardless, back to this movie. I loved the progression of this movie. Mm-hmm. I know I probably have said that numerous times for those of you out here who have watched this show,
really
listen to
like
this show.
How the movie go.
I really like the timeline of this movie.
Yeah.
I love how it progresses. Mm-hmm. It feels like it's the perfect plot for like a 3-act film. Like there is a clear like act 1, like the development of what's going on. Right. Act 2, like basically what is it called? Like a sequence of like when someone's like training and getting better. A montage. It's like act 2, the montage, and then it's like act 3, the climax of the film.
Right.
It's like there's like these. But the thing, it like the gradient, like the smooth transition from each one is really nice because it feels like we're on like a path here, right. And it's done really well.
Snappy.
I love it, and I think it's very unintentionally funny at moments.
Yes. My favorite bits of the film are his deaths.
Yeah, he's just getting his ass whooped for a hot minute and
just trying all sorts of different shit until something works.
Yeah, but at the same time of it being kind of goofy because he's just getting ran over by a truck or
pushing some dude out of the way,
right?
Get crushed by a helicopter.
Exactly. He's also like in that moment after he gets better, he's like also doing cool shit too,
right?
Or he's like anticipating where enemies are going to be.
It's all just muscle memory.
And so, but then of course,
but when it isn't, is when it gets funny,
and it's crazy. I love it. Mm-hmm. But man, I don't even know where to begin.
Who's your favorite character?
That's a good question. Let me see here. Let me go ahead and get a good
Let's get the list of characters.
What do we got here?
I forgot one of the soldiers was just named Cunts.
Wait, what?
Look,
C-U-N-T-Z. The guy who doesn't talk very much?
Yeah.
Wow.
Crazy looking dude.
I kind of liked the general.
Yeah.
Brigham. Mm-hmm. Very just matter of fact.
Mad-Eye Moody.
I do like Master Sergeant. Was it Finley? Farrell, sorry. Yeah. Bill Paxton's character. What a great character.
I think Kimmel was my favorite. The big dude.
Oh, yeah. The guy who just wears a jockstrap and that's it.
Right.
In his suit.
Yeah.
Gosh,
hilarious.
What a guy.
Teddy bear strapped to his chest plate.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. When it comes to like the action in this movie, it delivers, man. Oh, yeah. There are so many great moments, especially because of the premise, where we keep like resetting the day, and he is trying to like find the correct path. Mm-hmm. I love that. I love the action. I love that it there's always something like moving towards in some way.
Right.
But the part that hurts is kind of like past the halfway point in the film, whenever they're in the like farm shed and he is with Rita. It's like it's hard. How do you put that into proper words? How do you convey these motions into words?
Eloquently.
Yes, hopefully, instead of mumbling around.
Right.
There's a moment when
they get to a farmhouse after they cleared the beach.
There are a handful of moments in the film where the montage stops and it feels like this is as far as he's gotten. And then something happens, and of course, then he has to get killed, then reset it. Right. We kind of get some more montages that kind of build up to this moment, and then it feels like this is as far as he's gotten.
Right. And the farthest.
And that's the right, and that's the payoff that we get as the movie progresses in this kind of like middle section. Is like there's this build up to where you're like, I'm pretty sure he's got it locked down up until here.
This is the current.
Right. And there's a moment like that where it feels like we're at the current moment. But then it kind of subverts you after all this cool action, all this like crazy stuff going on. We're in this barnyard, like I said before, and the part that's hard is that he kind of shows his hand a little bit.
Right.
By
Rita got hit. He's patching her up.
Right. And
some coffee.
Exactly.
That he found.
Right. And then he
knows how she likes her coffee, like
down to a T.
Yeah.
He was gonna get her 2 sugars, and then he's like, "Oh no, wait, you like 3."
Right.
And so it's like it's that little thing, and then that's when she gets tipped off.
Picks up on it.
Because, and again, if we haven't already mentioned, she had the powers previously, for those of you who may not know, and then, of course, has lost them because of...
she wasn't killed right away.
She had lost blood, and then, of course, had it transfused. So then that's kind of how
lost the magic.
Right, lost the magic touch. So needless to say, it's almost like a tell... Like a tell sign,
right? And
the emotion that I'm talking about, that's hard for me to put eloquently into words, and I'm going to try to right now, is this sensation. You can kind of tell he's falling in love with her in a way, or just he is fond of her in some capacity. Maybe not falling in love is probably a strong word, but is liking her companionship. And this is the part where she gets pissed off. Justifiably in some way. It's like, you're wasting time. What's going on? Because again, at this point, for her, this is the current moment.
Right.
There is no other repeats. So for her, it's like, how many times have we been here? How many times have we done this?
Yeah.
And then
he never answers her.
Right. But what he does say is like, I can fly that, because she's like, you can fly, and he's like, no. Well, yes, I'm not good.
Already has the keys on.
I'm not good at landing or whatever, and she's like, cut the bullshit. Where's the keys at? Is basically, and of course he has the keys in his pocket, and he hands them to her, and then this is that moment that I'm talking about. He just tells her, no matter what I do, you don't make it past this point.
Right. The helicopter is where you die.
No matter how many times we try, this is as far as we can get. And it's like, oh, that it's hard to describe. It's hard for me just right now to describe.
At that point, he's just putting off the inevitable.
Right, and it's like, I know we have to get there, but the problem is, like, I want you there with me. Like, you're a friend, you're a companion now, and I don't want you to. It feels just like in a video game, where it's like, no matter how hard I try, this companion of mine always dies right here, and no matter how hard I try, I can't do it. I'm just not good enough to get there. And man, it's just. Ooh, it's so good. Yeah. And then they have this moment. She ends up dying in a helicopter crash, just as though he had said. She finally becomes a little bit more vulnerable to him in that moment, and then
gives him a real middle name.
Right. He he tries to go back to her and then is like, you know what? Oh, a really raw line that he says before that is, there's just sometimes that I wish I never met you.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh,
I wish I didn't know you.
I wish I didn't know you, but I do. And it's like, oh, that's so good.
Yeah.
And so he goes there, like just like almost like it's clockwork at this point. He goes there to meet just like he has so many times before. But then he stops and goes, sorry to bother you. Didn't mean to.
Walks away.
And then, of course,
to do it himself.
And then on a solo mission, it gets there. And I mean,
it just ignores everything else.
Oh, and it's so raw because in this moment, like he's like, you can see Tom Cruise obviously is a very phenomenal actor,
right?
And shows it, like personifies this, like I
don't care anymore.
I have died so many times to get to this one moment. There is one thing I have to do, and it's to get there.
Yep.
And so there's this same moment whenever in the beginning of the movie he's strapped into that like this machinery, like this exosuit, and he doesn't know where the safety is, and he's fumbling around, and he's like kind of nervous and finicky because
not
again,
a clue of what to do
because he's like a spokesperson that is now on the front lines. So like he is justifiably in shambles.
Right.
This is the moment where it's that same exact scene where one of his teammates is getting him strapped in or whatever, and he's like, are you, I think he says, are we ready to go or something like that? And he looks at him and he's like,
I need 3 extra clips of ammo, an extra battery, and 8 grenades.
Yeah, right. I'm pretty sure, like, but he says it with,
have you been drinking?
Have you been drinking? It's like, but like, it's because he says it with such a sternness of like, I need 3 more magazines of 5.56, 8 grenades, and an extra battery.
Right. Like it's just no big deal.
Yeah, but it says it like as if he's commanding him to do it. And the guy's like, have you been drinking? And he's like, oh, I think he just says like, get it. And it's like, oh man. Anyways, it's just crazy how, but anyways, he ends up like figuring out where the big bad is. And then, man, that final sequence, it's such a good.
You don't want to talk about the fake out at the dam?
Oh, what do you think?
He thought it was at first?
Yes.
Yeah.
He basically gets to the dam where he thought it was. And again, just like in what is it, Versailles? No. Verdun. It was just like in Verdun with...
It's a trap.
It's a trap. You've been subverted. It was never there to begin with. And of course, so he gets there and he's like, well, shit. Almost loses a lot of blood there, but ends up dying before. I think he drowns or something.
Yeah.
Wakes back up and is like, we've been duped. We gotta go back. So yeah, a
mimic does as a mimic would do.
Yes.
And bamboozles.
I don't know. It's so fun. This kind of premise of and I've said this on the podcast as well. I don't like time travel. A lot of times it gets really sticky.
Yeah.
Once you get involved in it, you get real sticky, and then it gets really messy, and then you're just like, it's hard to keep up.
Time loops, however,
are
much easier to work with.
I'm okay with, and the idea of this is super cool, and I love that.
Perfectly executed.
I love the idea of having this like hive mind pseudo race of
virus.
Right. That if one of them is to die, it resets with that one retaining memory.
Yeah. What a fucking overpowered ability.
I mean, seriously.
You want to talk about a failsafe?
Yeah.
That's like some it's like some Killer Queen type shit from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Oh, I have no idea what that means, but I believe you.
Okay, I'll explain.
Let me elaborate.
So, Killer Queen.
Okay.
A stand used by a serial killer in part 4.
Oh, God.
Everything the stand touches turns into a bomb that can
I
be
think
detonated.
You told me about this. Yes.
Whenever and however the dude wants.
Okay.
So, later on in the part, like near the end, he unlocks this ability by getting pierced with the stand arrow.
Okay.
It turns his stand into a Requiem stand, which makes it even more overpowered.
Oh, God.
By giving it an ability called Bites the Dust.
Okay.
Now, what this ability does...
Does another one bite the dust?
Dude, several another ones bites those dusts. And, oh my god, it's such a cool ability. So the way it works is he has taken the identity of this man that he has killed. I think his name was like Kosaku Kawajiri. And as he's like trying to insert himself into this family life that he's unwittingly inherited.
Okay.
He's got a wife and a kid now.
All right.
So what he's done is that he has binded Bites the Dust to this guy's kid.
Oh, no.
And anybody who comes into contact with this kid that finds out his identity will explode and die. And that day will be reset. But they will still die.
So that stays the same.
Yes, at the point of time that they die initially, they will die again.
But just randomly?
Yes. Not at random, just at the time that they...
Okay, yeah. I mean, just like random causes.
Right.
So
No, they'll just explode.
Oh!
They'll just explode out of
So
nowhere.
let's say it happens at 5 p.m. on a Friday, and of course it gets reset. We're all just like chilling around at dinner time.
They could be doing anything else.
But 5 p.m. hits, all of a sudden...
Yes,
oh
gone.
my god. Holy shit.
See you later. It's incredible.
That's terrifying.
It's something I wish I could have come up with.
That is bizarre, if you will.
A little bit, yeah.
But yeah, I just the more I think about the premise of all this, and when watching it through, I've watched this in the theater when it came out initially, and I loved it.
Blown
away. But seeing this again,
blowed up
again. This was. It was just a cool action movie. It's a good action movie. I think it's really cool.
Oh yeah, definitely worth a watch or several.
Yeah. I also love that it has this kind of like this. It's like if Groundhog Day was an action movie in some way.
Yeah,
it's really cool. I just am also imagining if
instead of going back into the burrow, the groundhog just kills everything in sight.
Love it. It also makes me think. If this is some like perfect evolution, what if like they were saying, like this is like this virus, if you will, has been like perfectly evolved to like
just to conquer
a planet in some capacity, especially once someone attacks it. Once it's there, unless like the local wildlife isn't able to attack it, nothing really happens. But once it attacks those, when things like kind of start to spur,
the game starts.
Yes, the game starts. The game is afoot. And it made me think about like thinking of like perfect evolution and stuff. It's like, what if the xenomorphs just had the ability to just like reset the day or whatever?
Already the perfect organism.
I know, just could really take over and conquer.
Yeah.
Xenomimics.
Oh God. Jeez.
Yeah. So anyways.
That'd be some shit.
That'd be some terrifying stuff. Man. Could you describe this film in 3 words?
Oh, dude. 3 words.
Uh-oh. Can I give you mine?
Yeah, go ahead.
Shoulder mounted weapons.
Yes. That's it.
That's it. That's all it is. That's all you need. I mean, I'm telling you, once the shoulder mounted weapons on the suits are like super cool.
Yeah.
I love the fact that it's just like it is on the right hand, the right arm, I should say, is a rifle.
Yeah. I love
it's
it.
just like fixed in like to a mount.
That's another thing I like too, is forearm mounted weaponry.
Right. It makes so much sense for whenever you leave the exosuit. Like whenever his exosuit, the first time they go to the farm, is like running out of power, and he gets out of it and just like unsheaths
the rifle out.
It's like, oh, so cool. It's like it's
ease of access,
function. It's really
impeccably designed.
Yes, function and fashion.
I'm gonna go with
Beaches of Normandy. Does I feel bad?
I'm gonna say sharply executed swordplay.
Yes, beautiful.
They got a fucking Buster sword in this movie.
They did. But, I mean, and of all movies that could probably pull it off, the one where you have exosuits to, like, enhance your strength in some way, beautiful.
It works.
Works. Okay, so can we tiptoe into some fun facts here for a second?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. The suits were based heavily on real designs. Yes. Many science fiction movies are guilty of going totally overboard on the fiction aspect of things. But it says for the most part, a lot of what went into Edge of Tomorrow was pretty well thought out. Take, for example, the famous battle suits that they had, which made the action sequences more thrilling.
Is it a name?
No, I thought that it was. Basically, the director saying that we looked at what DARPA is currently building and envisioned if we were 5 years.
I bet you as soon as they saw this movie, they were like, "Well, we gotta toss that shit in the can now." Everyone knows.
It basically says, seeing what DARPA is currently building and envisioned if we were 5 years into a war and everything else just stopped. And the best minds in the world were manufacturing the prowess focused on building these suits and armor.
How about that military-industrial complex, folks?
Those of you who don't know, DARPA stands for Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, and the organization really is starting to build powered armor.
Do you want to know how I found out about DARPA?
How's that?
Metal Gear.
No way.
Yes.
Oh,
dude.
God.
Do you know,
please,
how many real-life thingies are featured in Metal Gear?
I don't even want to know.
No, you will.
Okay.
You will. Let me tell you that right now.
Okay, let's go.
Anyway,
machines.
Fucking nano machines. No, that's...
What about Metal Gears?
Rising is a bit detached from that.
Oh, I see.
Way into the fiction end, as the Facts of Fun had mentioned.
As no one is surprised, Tom Cruise did all his own stunts.
Oh, of course.
Even more impressively, Cruise did all his own stunts while being encased in a heavy exosuit for the entire film. Most of it.
Yeah. In most of the shots, you can tell like what's practical and what's CG.
Right.
But man, it still looks good.
Yeah. It says that while many people correctly guessed that Emily Blunt was actually pregnant during some of the scenes in Edge of Tomorrow, this wasn't actually confirmed until the actress admitted it during an interview.
Damn.
She had returned to set to finish up reshoots, at which point she knew that she was pregnant. This was apparently the reason she used a stunt double for those shots instead.
Oh, okay.
Which is
completely excusable.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise.
Yeah, so that's so yeah. It says that Emily Blunt crashed a van and endangered Tom Cruise apparently at one point. It says that we have heard some pretty wild stories from behind the scenes. Shockingly, an accident happened when Emily Blunt was driving a van with Tom Cruise as the passenger, and that dreaded sequence with the wagon, I think, behind it. The crew needed a shot where the van was shaking, so they told Emily to take a hard right, like a hard right-hand turn, and then after gathering up some speed, says, however, Blunt totally lost control, slamming the van into a tree.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, wow. She found the incident extremely horrifying because it could have killed Tom, apparently.
Oh, yeah.
But both actors ended up laughing uncontrollably after the accident when they were both okay. Emily Blunt originally told this story in an interview. That's so funny. That's one of those moments where, like, I really could have killed you, man. But of course, now we're all here. We're fine. Let's just laugh about it.
A near-death experience to really add some levity to the situation.
Here's a little quick one. It said that Brad Pitt was actually considered for Cruise's role initially.
Really?
Yeah, so that's a little fun tidbit. It said that Brad Pitt turned down the role that ended up being Tom Cruise's.
Because he didn't feel like it.
Basically, I think he possibly passed it up to go work on World War Z.
Ooh.
Yeah, so that's
God.
scary. But yeah, so I think that's happened on the same time frame, so previous engagement. It said that those armor suits weren't made of cheap plastic or styrofoam.
Really?
They were the real deal, to the point where they could probably be functional given a few more years of development.
What?
As soon as
prototypes.
As soon as Emily Blunt put the suit on, she realized that that it was not. It was much more than
than a prop.
Than just cheap film props.
Yeah.
To put it into perspective,
that must have felt so cool.
Well, here you go. It says that to put it into perspective, the suits were about 85 pounds each.
Oh my God.
The realization that she would have to wear this suit for months emotionally crushed Emily Blunt. When she was trapped in it for the first time, she sought comfort in her co-star Cruise, who awkwardly tried to comfort her, but it didn't end up working out very well. So it was apparently a lot to take in.
That's amazing. Dude, that's like a dream.
Yeah, I mean, a dream of yours.
That I could only ever hope to have fulfilled before I die.
I mean, hey, we can probably work some out here. Like most novels turned into movies, some details make it into the final script while others don't.
Mm-hmm.
Fans of the book might notice a little signs and homage here and there, and one of those details is the name of the lead character himself, Cage. In the novel, Cage is actually a Japanese man who finds himself in America during the alien invasion.
Oh, wow.
His name is Keiji. But all the Americans just simply call him Cage due to the mispronunciation of his Japanese name.
That's cool.
Obviously, Tom Cruise is not Japanese, so they just changed his name and considered that as the result. So
let's just
kind of fun,
make him actually American.
It says that the titles confuse the audience. One of the things that people...
I don't see anything very confusing about All You Need Is Kill.
I don't will.
I mean, it's in the title.
One thing that people will probably remember about this film is the fact that the title was a little confusing. Most of us weren't really sure what this film was actually called. The slogan for the movie ended up being
Live, Die, Repeat.
Ended up being a larger font than the actual title in some cases.
You can see it on the case. It's like behind the title.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. In most posters and billboards, both the slogan and the film's title were roughly equal in size. This probably hurt the movie's success.
Bit of an oversight.
At least mildly. And marketing decisions like this probably contributed to a relatively poor box office performance in America initially. The original title of the novel was All You Need Is Kill, as we've said so far.
Mm-hmm.
And according to an interview with whoever, Blunt actually preferred this title, saying that
a woman of culture.
That's a bummer that it isn't that. I gotta say, I loved it. I thought it was more iconic, and totally more. Yeah. Anyways, so
it would have come up more in conversation. People would have been like, "What the fuck is that? Why is it called that?"
Yeah.
That would have upped its publicity, I feel.
Right. One of the key takeaways from the first film is that the ending is a little open-ended. Okay.
A bit, yeah.
While the aliens were seemingly defeated, we didn't quite get a stereotypical happily ever after that so many have. Oh, while in an interview, it also lost my spot. That's right. If you haven't heard the news, Edge of Tomorrow is reportedly getting a follow-up movie. Oh, God. And the sequel will seemingly explain the ending of this first film. This is based on a slightly cryptic tweet by the screenwriter of the film, which reads simply, "The end of Edge. I will finally make complete sense."
Well, when did he tweet that?
I have no idea.
Oh, God. If it's recent, I'm excited.
There's no release.
I can't wait to see the end of Edge.
The end of the Edge of Tomorrow. That will never come.
The soul of the blood of the wolf.
Yeah. The shit of the
poop that you thought was fart. Yeah.
Another detail from the book that made it into the final screenplay is Rita using a melee weapon in the novel and the manga. It is a massive, technologically advanced battle axe.
Buster sword.
But in the movie, it is a large sword.
Yes.
This is pretty much exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of the details is very essential to her character. Why is she the only one carrying a melee weapon out of all the soldiers?
The only one cool enough.
The question might not be
one.
answered in the film, but it is addressed in the novel and the original story. Rita carries this melee weapon because she consistently runs out of ammo throughout all the times she resets. Using a melee weapon was a key adaptation. She made to her fighting style after resetting hundreds of times. So,
damn,
she got good at it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Kind of cool. An alternate ending was filmed where the humans lose.
Oh, God.
Another ending was considered to be involved, much darker fate where the human race does not make it, and the ending involves human soldiers accidentally eliminating an alpha during the final battle.
Oh, no.
Despite being warned by Cage not to do so.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, the day is reset once again, and the movie ends with the audience knowing that the aliens will have the upper hand during the final battle.
Oh.
The implication is that the humans will fail.
Damn, dude.
Jeez.
That sucks.
It says that Cage may have done it more, but in the movie, Cage resets the day 26 times that we know of it in there. So it's hard to believe that in the movie, which centers around the whole resetting concept, it only happens 26 times. But I think it's insinuated that it does it more. But,
right. You know. We'll never know the exact amount.
Yeah. This book is inspired by video games.
Really?
Yeah.
I never would have guessed.
It said that gamers might have found the movie particularly enjoyable after all. They were some pretty sweet elements.
Why didn't this get a game?
Well, it said they seemed like they were taken straight out of some of your favorite levels of Halo and Gears of War.
A bit, yeah.
According to an article somewhere, this was no coincidence. Apparently, the author of the original novel got an idea for a story by playing some video games and consistently losing his life and having to reset or respawn.
Isn't that great?
Yep. It says he... one of the most well-known science fiction writers of Japan, Hiroshi Sakurazaka.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really cool concept and one that all games can relate to. After all, the only way that you can beat a video game is to play it again and again until you have learned the level.
Right.
This is essentially what Tom Cruise does in the entire film. So that is very true.
Pretty neato.
it says that the movie was released on the anniversary of D-Day, which is crazy. Wow. You might not have realized, but the film was released on the anniversary of the major world event. History buffs will know that June 6, 2014 was the 70th anniversary of D-Day.
Man.
And that is when Edge of Tomorrow hit theaters. It is not a coincidence. And a lot of reviewers noted that many action scenes were similar to the D-Day landing, which is why I made the joke, because that's what it very much feels like that.
Instead of U-boats, they have U-cruisers.
Oh yeah, dude!
If you see that one of those things in the background, it's huge and has its own cannons.
It's crazy. There's supposedly it says that a lot of the impacts that Tom Cruise goes through in the film was some inspiration from Wile E. Coyote. All the kind of comedic parts we were talking about, where he gets his shit rocked by different things. Speaking about one ridiculous scream he added on a reset scene, Cruise continued. I think it sets the tone for the film. It is horrible, but it is also funny. I love that. So yeah, the idea of killing yourself just to reset the day,
right?
Terrifying. Says it was filmed in the same place that Harry Potter was filmed as well. It's crazy. For a while, a Harry Potter tour was available, which led the tourists through areas nearby, which was busy with Edge of Tomorrow set design pieces.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's basically it. There's some more. I kind of skipped around a little bit, hit some of the big ones.
Yeah.
But,
man, it's all right. It's late.
I love it. I know. I'm just, wow. There's so many fun things about this film.
Mm-hmm. One of the greats.
I mean, I'm telling about the fact that you have like the suits being like 80 pounds and being very practical and stuff is so cool.
So it's the coolest.
It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I need to see if they have any of those for sale.
I mean, I doubt it.
Maybe.
It's like they were saying it was very much a
prototype.
Prototype for what is
so
I'm pretty sure currently available. So that's really cool.
Mm-hmm. One of these days.
I'll get you, I promise. Well, what a fun time.
Mm-hmm. I
really am glad you picked that movie.
Yeah.
I saw the first few seconds of this movie, and I was like, I know this
you
opening
thought it was
sequence.
District 9 at first.
Yeah. Because I think District 9 opens very similarly.
Yeah.
Not with the meteor though, but it opens up with like
rampant news reports.
Right, and then of course
the current event that's happening.
And then there's a ship that's hovering over this African town. Is that right?
I think,
or something like that. So. And then it's like, oh no, whoa.
Right.
I think it's South African because I think he's South African. I think that's what. Anyways, sorry. Yeah, so I just it popped off real quick right off the top, and I was like, "That District 9?" And you're like, "No," and I was like, "Ah, shit." and then I saw Tom Cruise, and I was like, "No way!"
Right.
I can't believe you did this.
You want to know what I was considering for this episode?
What's that?
Gamera.
No way.
Mm-hmm. And you know what keeps stopping me?
What's that?
I keep thinking about what the movie's like and how I remember like how flippin' crazy it is.
Yeah.
And I think, oh man, he's not ready for that just yet. But then I remember like, oh, he's watched fucking Godzilla films with me for like the past couple of years.
Yeah.
But then I think, no, he's not ready for it. So be on the lookout for that one.
I just need to know on a sliding scale, adjusting my expectations. Are we talking Final Wars? Are we talking?
It's like a very gritty, gory version of Final Wars. It's got less camp.
Oh gosh.
While still having camp.
Right. Yeah, having its own camp.
Right.
But it's not pleasant.
It's just kind of weird.
Okay.
But it's still cool.
Yeah, I believe you.
I love Gamera. Big ass flying turtle.
Gamera is
the next big kaiju.
Right, he's
other
not
than Godzilla.
He's separate from Godzilla. Like they're a different company.
Yeah.
Does all that. Okay. I gotcha. But what about Ultraman though?
Dude. Okay.
Yeah, so, he got him a collection.
Thanks to my perks at Best Buy.
Yes.
I was able to pick up the first 3 series in the Ultra series.
Okay.
Which include Ultra Q, the progenitor, Ultraman.
The man.
Right, and then Ultra 7.
Got it.
I'm sure there's more. These are really nice steelbook collections.
Oh, yeah.
Come with their own booklets and everything.
They're heavy. They feel nice.
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to watch them all.
Yes. Are they films or series?
It's a series.
Oh, fun.
A TV show.
Love it. Okay.
Now, if you're willing, I have a video to show you once this episode's finished that you're going to lose your mind over.
Got it.
But with that being said, I think now's a good time to say goodbye.
Oh, yeah. I think it's definitely time for us to wrap up this this episode.
We know.
Yeah.
Miss us.
Yeah. Please,
hold your jeers.
Everyone, please. I need everyone to calm down.
Right.
Yeah, if you keep shambling around,
you can start cheering after we're gone. It's fine.
Right. I hear the collective from all of you guys. Yeah,
right.
As we're wrapping up this. And may I say, we looked at some of the analytics. We got a lot of people from Virginia.
Yeah.
And Texas.
Shout outs to
you guys.
Whoever you are.
I love you guys. All over the place.
Complete strangers.
Yeah. Kudos. Thank you for dealing with us. It's a lot of fun. I appreciate it.
Really sticking it out.
I mean, just having fun with us. Just having a conversation with us.
We'll get better eventually.
I think I think we're getting better.
Oh, I'm kidding.
I know. But anyways, with that being said, you can go to linktree/Ian Wolf to find all of our links, find out ways to reach out to us, or all the platforms you can listen to us on. Just all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Give us a listen. If you want to, share it with somebody.
If you are so inclined.
I know this is not for everyone, but give it a shot. Who knows?
At least try.
Yeah, at least try. All you can do is try.
Right.
And kill. Anyways, until next time, thank you so much for listening.
See you.
Bye.